I just wanted to push back on the whole we can't make him a hero because he's already a hero to some people. And whether we agree he is a hero or not, he's already a hero to some people because there were some people already waiting for somebody to take a stand like this. There were some people already waiting for somebody to say, you know what? And like I said, I don't actually think he did it constantly. I do think it was a mental break, but it was the aftermath of how he just stood on it and was not remorseful. I won't say not remorseful, but he just stood on it and was like, I did what I did, and I'll do it again for the most part, simply because he already committed that act. So he became a hero to some people in that moment, whether we say it or not. That's like the people who said that we was like, George Zimmerman shouldn't be a hero, but he was to some people. Kyle Rittenhouse was a hero to some people. It's a whole list of people who are heroes to some people. So for us to say that he can't be a hero, he's already a hero to some people. That's why the internet is reacting the way the internet is reacting, And then based on the current climate, it's like, hey, maybe we need more people like him. Maybe we don't. It's basically maybe we need more people who's going to stand on this type of business, or maybe we don't. And so it's just one of those things. I almost feel like it's almost like so the two extremes between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, where one was a pacifist and one was by any means necessary, and the one who ended up winning was because they was like Lyndon B. Johnson was like, this person over here, any means necessary. We don't want that. Let's go ahead and support this person over here, and let's go ahead and pass the Civil Rights Act because this person over here is a pacifist and he's talking about turning the other cheek. I think that may kind of trigger some type of moment. I don't know for sure because it's pretty early on, and I'm personally not trying to turn him into a hero, but I just want to acknowledge and push back that he's already a hero to some just because he took action, and a lot of people won't take that type of action. And a lot of people, and even if it was a mental break action, is the fact that he stood on it after the fact. And that's what some people are upholding the hero status for.
Listen, I want to ask one last quick question, right? Because as you guys were talking, and it's been a great episode, I ain't gonna hold you. Until we got serious, of course, or at least try to stay serious as much as possible. Not asking you guys specifically, but just wanted you guys to give me a quick number, and then hopefully we can kind of get into final takes, right? What percentage of people do you think would give their lives in order to get justice for their slain child? Right? I'm going to ask that again, give you guys a chance to think about it, right? What percentage of people do you think would give their lives for justice? Not necessarily give your life to protect your kid's life, but I'm saying that you'd be willing to give your life in the sake of justice. What percentage of people, Black people, do you think would do that? Does anybody want to answer that? Just kind of curious. The reason why I thought of that, right? Because a lot of times we try to think about what people's motivations might be. And maybe if he lost his mind, then cool, there's no motivation there. He just kind of lost it, right? But I was sitting here thinking, like, with this case, a lot of people are going to pay attention to what happened to his son. There's going to be a lot of scrutiny because I think at the heart of it, people are going to want to try to find out whether or not the father was justified to lose it the way that he did. Like, for example, if he would have saw his son being murdered right there or whatever, right? Like just in the worst way violated, right? Then I felt like, and it became known that that was the case, I think you could convince a jury on some jury notification shit or whatever, right? To be like, nah, he was justified, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess my question to y'all though is, so that made me think, like, in terms of, hey man, you did this to my son, I'm gonna take one of y'all. Eye for not justice. But I think if there was some injustice here, it's likely to be revealed because of this particular case. That's what kind of made me think about the question. So hopefully you guys had enough chance to think about it, right? Just real quick, what percentage of people do you think would give their lives in order to get justice for their slain child? Anybody want to just real quick, and a quick explanation, and then we can move on. Anybody?
I'm going to go 20%.
Okay, 20%, that's pretty low.
80-20, yeah, I'm going 20. Okay. 80%, they're not really about that life. It's not going to happen.
I would say if you account for religious people and rule them out, you know what I'm saying, then I think you probably take 75% of non-religious people. If you did something to their child, they'd be going for revenge.
75% of you ain't got to give us an equation answer, but okay, I'll take it.
They got to be non-believers.
Well, listen back.
I think I have low expectations, but go ahead, Tia.
I don't think anybody wants to die, but I think over our kids, most of us would if we had to. And I think that's just a natural protective instinct as a parent. If a bullet was flying and your kid was there, you would jump in front of it instinctively. You wouldn't think about your life in that moment. So I think in the moment when challenged with opportunity, which is what Mr. Hinton was, then most of us would take it. I think that, especially if it was in the regard where we didn't have a chance to really just think, it was just the ability to react. And that's kind of why the crime of passion law lies, because it's like in the moment, it's an opportunity to do something. And I did it because in that moment, I felt the need to. It wasn't a premeditated. So I think a lot of us would. I won't say, at first I was going to say 75%. I think that's a fair number. But then who wouldn't, sacrifice themselves for their child unless you're just I won't say you're a piece of shit parent, right? But they're a piece of you.
But for justice, though,
For justice?
so be clear. I'm talking about for justice. Yeah, because
Yeah,
not
That's what I
after
was
the
gonna
fact.
there's
say.
a difference,
some
right?
people
I
forget that
get what
shit.
you're saying in terms of, hey, I'm
Right
gonna save
then
my
and
child's
there.
life. But no,
Mhm.
hey, my child's died, and I'm gonna get justice from no matter what. That's the question.
I would say maybe 60, maybe 50. 50% of people would go gang
50% of
just for
people.
justice.
Oh, look at you believing
Yeah,
in people.
I would say.
Wow, I am so cynical because I'm going with 1%. I was like, get the fuck out of here with these high ass numbers. It's 1% because we've seen time and time again where children have been slain, right? Or some children have been slain, and you know how they pursue their justice through civil courts, right? Through monetary means and so forth. But they weren't on eye for eye. They weren't on tooth for tooth. They weren't going out there to get that justice, even after the person was let go and free. If that's the case, why the hell George Zimmerman still walking around kicking it and signing Skittle bags? You know what I'm saying? And so I'm going to call a cap on all that shit
Thank you, Esther.
and say 1% because fundamentally we are too comfortable in our lifestyles. We are too comfortable with who we are and to stand on that type of business. We're not going to stand on that type of business because I want to say it's going to sound cold. We're cowards, right? Because it takes a certain type of person, unless you have a mental break, it takes a certain type of person to be methodical and plot revenge. Because that's what you're looking at. You're looking at somebody who's plotting revenge for the purpose of seeking justice for their lost child after the fact. And going in with that mindset that this is now, they have to go in the mindset saying, hey, if I get caught, it's premeditated, right? Because it was after the fact and I had time, unlike in this case where I don't necessarily believe it was premeditated. It was that was actually a crime of passion. It was like spontaneous moment in my opinion. But so I'm just going to say cap on all y'all and say 1% at most. And that's me giving a high number of 1%.
And that is so perfect. And that's the reason why people will make him a hero. Because people will kind of idolize people who act in manners and ways that they wish they had the courage to because they really want to, right? And when they see somebody else doing it, they resonate with that. So with that being said,